Welcome back. Today we are going to look at lesson 6, and this is the second of the 3 lessons on the gas giants. Today's focus is Saturn, the Lord of the Rings. Here is what I will be covering today, and let's get it started. Some facts. It takes sunlight 80 minutes to reach Saturn. It is a gas giant and the second largest planet in our solar system. It has a large ring system. As of February 1st, 2021, Saturn has a total of 82 moons. A day on Saturn is 10 hours 42 minutes. A year on Saturn is 29 years. And Saturn is about 1.5 billion kilometers away from the sun. Let's talk about the structure and the surface. There's a photo right there. Saturn is a gas giant and is made up of hydrogen and helium, just like Jupiter. It has a rocky core. It doesn't have a surface. The core temperature is about 11,700 degrees Celsius. Since it's made of mostly hydrogen, Saturn would float if you put it in an ocean, like if you were able to find an ocean that big. So it's like a beach ball. It would float. It is made up of 96% hydrogen. So it's a very light planet. Atmosphere, like we said, it is 96% hydrogen, 4% helium. Wind speeds can reach up to 1,800 kilometers per hour. And that is not the windiest of planets. So stay tuned to see which planet is the windiest. Its atmosphere is cloudy, and the clouds wrap around the planet like Jupiter, so it has like these equatorial rings. So pretty cool. It has great white spots. Saturn does have storms, and one of the most fascinating features about Saturn is it has a perfect hexagon located in the north pole of the planet. If you look at all the pictures, even the picture that I'm showing you right here is kind of small, but if you research Saturn hexagon, you will see that this is a perfect hexagon, an equilateral hexagon. It's unbelievable. The rings. This is the most talked about feature of Saturn, more than the hexagon. There are 7 rings. Saturn's ring system extends up to 282,000 kilometers. The rings are only 10 meters thick. So in space terms, the rings are paper thin. The rings are made up of ice and rocks. There are asteroids within the rings that have their own gravity. So as the rings are spinning around, there's actually bigger rocks within that have their own gravity, which is pretty interesting. But the bad news is, for all the Saturn lovers out there, I am a Saturn lover. I love this planet. Saturn's rings will eventually disappear. Here are some photos of Saturn's rings. So starting at the one at the top left, that's just a close-up of what the rings look like. If we go to the right, you see that this is how rocky they are. So I know they appear to be flat, but they're actually chunks of ice and rock that are just spinning around very fast. And the bottom picture is a picture that shows you that you can't really see the rings when you look at Saturn dead on. But also I wanted to show you a pretty cool shadow of a moon, because Saturn has 82 moons, so there's a shadow of one of the moons, and we're going to learn about the moons. Okay, right after this slide. Rings part 2. Some of the rocks and ice in the ring are tiny. Saturn is expected to lose its rings in about 300 million years. The rings are controlled by Saturn's gravity. The rings are there because moons got too close to Saturn. Saturn's strong gravity destroyed them. And one of Saturn's moons is actually feeding one of the rings. So we're going to learn about that. Lord of the Moons, 82 moons. Like Jupiter, Saturn has some very unique moons. Only 53 of Saturn's moons have names. We will focus on 2 of Saturn's moons today. That's Enceladus and Titan. So let's look at Enceladus. This moon is the most unique object in our solar system. Enceladus is much like Europa. This is a moon that is in liquid form. Scientists believe that Enceladus has the ingredients needed for life. It has a rocky core. The outside layer is ice. Okay, so there's the picture right there. Let's continue with Enceladus. It has geysers spewing water into space. Basically, what a geyser is just an opening, like volcano, except this thing is shooting water out into space. When the geysers erupt, they turn into ice. The ice is then captured by Saturn's gravity. The ice adds to one of Saturn's rings. So the reason why Enceladus is able to have water, even though it is so far away from the sun, is because Saturn's gravity pulls on Enceladus. So it heats it up in the middle. That's why this is possible. Titan. This is another very interesting moon. Titan. This moon also has liquid. The liquid is methane gas because it is so cold. So we've learned about the 3 states of matter. Gas is usually like an air on Earth, but when it is cold enough, gas can turn into liquid. And that's what's happening right now on Titan. It is Saturn's largest moon. There is an atmosphere on Titan. It is the only place besides Earth known to have liquids in the form of rivers, lakes, and seas on its surface. So all the other planets or moons, they have it underneath. This one is just on the surface, which is kind of wild if you think about it. Here's Titan continued. We sent a space probe to Titan, believe it or not. It actually landed on it. So in 2004, the space probe was called Cassini-Huygens, and it beamed back information and pictures. So Cassini was the main guy. Huygens was like this attachment that was sent with Cassini, and we dropped off Huygens onto the surface of Titan. And these are the photos it took. Titan is very Earth-like. It has biological elements, things that are needed for life. Titan was formed from the same dust cloud as the sun and the Earth. Titan did not form near Saturn. So it is a mystery as to how it got there. So if Titan was able to stay with the Earth, this might have been our sister planet or our brother planet, our twin. It might have been the other planet that had life in our solar system. NASA will be sending another probe there in the future. And let's look at the other moons. They're not as fun, but let's look at them anyways. This one is kind of interesting. It's called Hyperion. It has a very strange surface. It kind of looks like a sponge. Other moons have strange shapes too. Prometheus and Pandora are shaped like potatoes. Janus is shaped like a meatball. Epimetheus is like a dirty snowball. More information about some of these other moons will eventually be known. Usually when the scientists don't find life, they might look away. But now lately, scientists are trying to find clues for the creation of the solar system, so they may study this in the future. Some facts, part 2. 9 Earths fit side by side along the diameter of Saturn. Saturn is visible in the night sky without a telescope. Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun, so the ancients named Saturday after Saturn. In Roman mythology, Saturn was the father of Jupiter. So in Greek mythology, Jupiter is Zeus. Saturn was like the father of Zeus. It was from a different gods called the Titans. The rings of Saturn are not always visible to us. We lose sight of Saturn's rings twice every 29 years. So it's part of its orbit. We do lose sight because it tilts a little bit, and so do we. Scientists believe Jupiter and Saturn have switched orbits in the past. So now Jupiter is closest to the sun and Saturn's further away. They believe that they might have rotated a couple times. So that's a pretty cool thing to believe, I guess. Space probe. So I did mention this a little bit earlier. I'm going to get into a little more detail now. There have been 4 robotic spacecraft that have visited Saturn. NASA sent 2 probes, Voyager 1 and 2, in 1980 and 1981. Voyager 1 and 2, they just flew by the planets and took pictures. And their instruments picked up on like radiation and magnetism and all that stuff. Cassini-Huygens, this space probe was launched, I do believe it was 1995. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so I could be wrong. 1995, and it spent 13 years just orbiting Saturn. So it took a few years to get there, and then it took 13 years just orbiting Saturn, taking pictures of it. So like I mentioned earlier, Cassini dropped the Huygens probe on Titan in the year 2005, and then Cassini eventually died, well, they killed it by having it plunge into Saturn. So now Cassini is technically part of Saturn's atmosphere. This is a picture of Voyager 1 that flew by Saturn in 1980. Now let's look at Cassini, because Cassini was really important, this space probe. Excuse me. This probe traveled almost 8 billion kilometers. It spent 20 years in space. It completed 294 orbits of Saturn. It took over 450,000 photos of Saturn and its moons. Cassini brought another probe with it called Huygens. It dropped Huygens on Titan. Huygens discovered that Titan looked like the Earth 3 billion years ago, and Cassini found liquid on Titan. So usually they shoot like infrared lasers at it, and then you could see what's beneath the surface. So that's it for this video. A lot of research went into it, so there's 2 pages of credits. Our next video is going to focus on on Uranus and Neptune, and that will be the last video of this series. Again, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.